Hello and welcome to another episode of IntelliTalks. My guest for today is Jana Krekic. I'm sorry I pronounced it correctly.
It's perfect, perfectly
Yeah,
pronounced. Thank you.
thank you. Perfect. And yeah, I'm happy to have you here, Jana. We've been knowing each other for quite some time, but never had a chance to actually talk and share some of your incredible things that you're doing with YLT translations in front of our audience and in front of our customers. So. Without further ado, welcome and tell us a bit about yourself so everyone knows, and let's see what we can prepare for today.
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to having this opportunity. As you said, like we've known each other, we've been in the space for a while, but we've never actually exchanged the knowledge and discussed things in more detail. So I'm really excited to be able to present some of the, I would say the cool stuff that I have to share with your audience, and hopefully they can find value. And what I think it's more important that they could actually apply some of the things that I'll be sharing today to their business by themselves without having to hire anybody else. And just reach more consumers and scale their brand. So this is something that I'll be talking about today, a little bit about the products, the strategies, the due diligence, everything that's quite often overseen, and some of the mistakes that people do with them.
That's incredible because, yeah, we all know everyone is talking about the successes and everything, but how to avoid the mistakes, not to repeat them. That's really intriguing. So, on
Yeah.
top of it, we'll be talking like the top seller mistakes that we have when expanding internationally, and also how to find the winning product and what to pay attention
Yes.
to. All right, that sounds
Exactly.
interesting. So, should we start with the winning product or with the mistakes, Yana?
So I would maybe first start with the due diligence, like how to find actually a winning product, and then I would just focus a little bit on if you've thought of that your product is failing on one marketplace, that it might not be successful in another one where it can actually have its full potential. And also like I have a couple of examples of products that have been failing like in the US but thriving in Europe, which is quite interesting because we all think that it's all going to be great success in the US. And I mean, the US marketplace is the biggest one, so you can sell thousands of products over there, but there is a certain limit that you can hit, and there are like a lot of competitors. There's just like bunch of things that are involved in like the thing if you're going to be successful or not. So I'm going to cover some of that as well. I prepared a couple of slides so that it's easier for your audience um, to track and like to see some like real examples of what we've done um, recently in
That's
the
awesome.
past 4 years. We do about a couple of thousands of ASINs every month, and we've been working with not only private label sellers but also with big brands and enterprises such as Nestle and Solgar, Vital Proteins. We recently signed the contract with Crocs, with like a bunch of big brands. So this is not only a sample of like the content and what are the best practices or rule of thumb for small or medium or big Amazon private label sellers, but also something that we've seen that repeats and happens with also like very big brands that also have Amazon departments that deals with that.
Right.
So it's quite common to see everything I'll be talking about with no matter how big of the corporation or company it is. Um,
So
so first of
this,
all,
yeah,
I'd like to, yeah, yeah, I
this
would just
this
like to
applies
start.
to
Uh-huh.
small sellers and big sellers alike. So it's very
Yes,
important for
absolutely.
everyone to
It doesn't
understand. Yeah.
really matter. Like we've had very big sellers, like they were huge in the US, but they just did not know how to do things properly in international waters. And that doesn't it always really that always amazes me. I'm like, how could
Yeah.
you be like an eight-figure seller and then do such a like crazy mistake, because people don't think about it. And especially because like, okay, so like we here in Europe, we speak more than one language. It's quite common that people speak at least one foreign language apart from the native tongue.
Yeah.
But in the US, my personal feel is that brands and sellers, they don't care much about content written in non-English because they don't understand it. So they don't think the content is important, and they just kind of don't pay attention to that until they see the drop in sales. And this is where they start paying attention to, like, hey, what went wrong? And it usually is content, because this is what we do the most. So speaking about how you find and how the product and how you make sure that it's going to be successful on a new marketplace. So first of all, you can just basically go to, I don't know if you can see the slides, if we switched over to slides now.
I pressed the wrong button.
So yeah, okay. So basically, like the first thing you can do is you can just like go to brand analytics and just like check if there's a global demand for your product. And you can just see if there is a demand for your product anywhere else apart from your home marketplace, or if there's like no demand for your product. So you can like very easily see if there's like high, medium, or low demand. If there's low demand for a product, let's say in the UK or Germany, then it's probably not a great start for you. Don't expand internationally thinking that your best-selling product in the US will be also your best-selling product somewhere else, because this is not necessarily the rule of thumb. So the first thing you can do is just like go to global demand for your product and check what's going on there. Second thing you can do, like for instance, like what we like we're doing is going to, for instance, Helium 10, going to Black Box, and there you can check the revenue for the product. You can check the revenue for the product, and you can basically just make sure that there is enough of the revenue that the product is making. Because sometimes they're just going to be, like 100 sales or, like 500 euros per month that this product is earning, and that is definitely not going to be enough for you think it's a good start. Yeah. Then after that, like for instance, what we like to do, like you don't have to like get all the tools, but for instance, like we like to go to Data Dive, where we like basically take all the competitors and compare how well they're doing and what are these competitors doing, and see their strategies and see if you can follow something like that. For instance, you can see like this is the seasonality of the product, how are the sales going, and what are the other products that are frequently bought together with this product. So you can also follow that type of strategy and see if this all combined will make enough of the revenue that you are looking to get. And what I think by, having a good revenue or having like, a lot of demand, it really depends on the product and the niche. But, if your product is like really, really special and niche down, and there's like not many sales of this product, then those are going to be different parameters, because you cannot compare that product with like Wet Brush or something that's a bestseller on a new marketplace, because that one would get 5,000 sales per month, and your product might not be getting 5,000 sales just because it's a niche down product. So you have to kind of differentiate the two. What I think it's also very important for you to do is you should check the revenue that your competitors are making on your home marketplace, where you're also selling, and compare the revenue that they're making on this new marketplace that you also want to expand to. And then if you see that there is a certain increase in revenue or the profit that they're making, then it means that it's like a good thing for you to also try to expand there. If you're not seeing that they're having any specific revenue, or they're not increasing their sales or anything like it, then it's probably not a good idea for you to go to this other marketplace. Also, when it comes to your competitors, of course, definitely if you have competitors, I always say that that's good. If you don't have any competitors, I don't think it's a really good thing for your product or for your business. I always think that the competitors kind of are there because it means that this product is making some money. So if you have competitors, yes, they're helping you game up with everything you're doing. Yeah. So basically, this is an example we had with one seller. He was selling these like patches for shirts and stuff like that. And he had multiple competitors, I think about 8 to 10, but these were like top 4 competitors. And so here, like the one in red, that means that his content is good. The orange one is that the content is decent, but the green is that it's not a good content, and basically there are no keywords, and that it's easy to beat these competitors. So by knowing this means that you could easily land as number 3 here when it comes to content, and you might even beat number one your competitors depending on what keywords they use, which you can easily find out using any of the tools I mentioned. And then once you're sure that you can beat them on the content game with the keywords, and then those keywords could be used also in your PPC campaigns, then now we have something to work with. And you're like, okay, now I can try to find the strategy. And now if I can be top 3 products on this marketplace, then this means that I could get some decent revenue. So those are all the parameters that are very important for you to see, like before you expand and for your due diligence and for your whole strategy. But what is very, very important and very much overseen is what your audience thinks of the product. So we've just today actually launched this report that will actually do a whole due diligence for you. It's a manual report, and it will take care of a bunch of different segments, and it will give you a lot of data, and it will help you understand what its opportunity score, if it's going to be a good marketplace or not. And for this report, Pixel built an international audience for us, where we ask the audience, hey, would you buy this product? Because this is very important, because a lot of times, and we've had a seller that was selling a t-shirt with Mr. and Mrs. Smileys on the shirts, and the product was great, content was great. I thought the product was pretty cool. PPC, keywords, infographics, pictures, everything was good, but the product was just not selling. So I got an idea to go and ask my German team, and I asked them, so guys, like, would you buy this product? In all 15 of them, they said, no, we wouldn't, because this is not German aesthetics. This is not something that Germans would buy. And this is why this product was not being, sold in thousands every month from the seller, but it's basically failing. So a lot of times it's important that the audience has the right to say, hey, so this is just not a product that we like. And this is something that people and brands and sellers, they never check. They're just assuming that if it's a bestseller product on one market, that everybody will love it. And you don't have to do a Pixel poll. Like, you can go to a Facebook group, like Ask Expats, and be like, hey guys, so would you buy this product? Or you can even ask them, so you can reach more people. You can ask them, like, would you or somebody that you know buy this product? Because people can be like, I'm not into, ski equipment, but my friends or my cousin really likes it, and I think that they would buy it. So this kind of gives you better feel and better pulse of the marketplace, and
Right.
it would tell you, like, okay, so there are people that would buy it. Like, the marketplace is basically interested in this product. Let me give it a go. So these are some of the things that are very, very important when doing the due diligence, just like, keeping it short. But this is something that sellers never actually pay attention to, and they almost never, from my experience, maybe 5% of sellers actually do due diligence, because their team doesn't know how to deal with, foreign language, and to understand the importance of the culture, and just like the mentality, and that every country works differently, especially when it comes to the style, the what people search, shopping habits. Like, absolutely everything is different, and you have to localize a lot with your product. So it's really important to basically cover all of these things, which, as I said previously, I think you can you can cover all of that on your own. You don't have to hire anybody else to help you with it. You're just gonna need to basically make sure that the people who understand the foreign language, with your inputs on how to do due diligence that you did for your whole marketplace, do it also for other countries. Sometimes it will be fantastic, which you can find out. Sometimes it will not be great, but at least it will save you a lot of money and time for not investing it where you thought you would get some profit. So you can just kind of, put those eggs in some other basket, but not in, let's say, like selling in Germany or somewhere else. So that's very important when finding a new country to sell on, and to make sure that you are going to be successful. I think that one of the most important things is definitely comparing the revenue that you have on the marketplace versus the one that you can make on the new one, by checking how much your competitors are making in terms of revenue, and also in terms of how many sales they have. And then, of course, if your keyword doesn't have a search volume on that new marketplace, if the search volume is not that high, if the search volume for a good selling product is 400, then it means that nobody's actually searching for that product. So that means that you should not focus that much on that marketplace. And also, what I would definitely suggest is like not using too broad keywords that mean broad keyword in another language, because then it would not be specific enough result that you would get, and it would be misleading.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you have like the tools to get the information, like you mentioned, Helium
Yeah.
10 and Data Dive. Those are great tools to
Yeah.
work with. Definitely, that's the starting point. And then going to YLT Translations and asking for this report that you mentioned. So tell us more about this report. So everything that you mentioned before will be within one report that will be delivered to the sellers. How much does that cost,
exactly.
by the way?
So it's actually, I have to mention that it's a manual report. So no report is going to be the same. Everything is tailored for that product or seller or niche, or it's quite unique, and it takes us about 72 hours. We have someone full-time who's working on it. We've been testing it with 20-30 sellers, and we got really good feedback, because people don't expect that amount of information. Because what I think is really crucial for you as someone who's like doing the due diligence and wanting to test out the marketplace before you go there, is actually having some real data and actually getting some databases with some content, with some good keywords, with something that you can research on your own. Even though you don't speak the language, you can get some of the main keywords and do a little bit of research, so you can also get some numbers on your own as well. So we've decided to put a very competitive pricing, because we want people to test it out and to see how good this could be for them, and how much data they can get out of it. So we've actually divided this into the main marketplaces and the additional one. So for the main marketplaces, we've chosen to be UK, Germany, Mexico, and Japan. So these marketplaces per country, the cost is $249. And then if you want to add some additional marketplaces that are not those top marketplaces, but like maybe like smaller ones like Italy or France, then for that we charge only $149. And it's a full report that I think, depending on the niche and the product, could be anywhere between 15 to 20 pages long, and it saves a lot of time for your team that will probably not be getting that sort of information because they do not speak the language. And we put everything we've came across like the last 4 years, all the strategies, everything that we've seen the brands do, everything that we try to focus on and help people not make the same mistake as their competitors were making. So a lot of things that we've been dealing with, we've put into the report. And I think the outcome is pretty good and pretty unique. As I previously mentioned, we do a couple of thousands of products every month. So there are some data and some things that are very repetitive that a lot of people don't know, but we kind of focused on it to kind of make the best out of it and present it to our audience in this report.
That's incredible. So this is a must-do report, if you ask me, prior to externalizing your business to any other foreign language speaking countries, because especially like you mentioned, the German marketplace, the German people are really nationalists. So they do have this unique way of looking at things. And even though the German marketplace is like the biggest in Europe, is it? Or I think it's the biggest, right?
Yeah, it's right after the US.
UK?
So it's US, no, it's basically US, Germany, and then third are UK and Japan are kind of close. But Germany is actually the second marketplace, because so whoever does not have their own like Amazon, like dedicated Amazon, they buy from Amazon.de. So you actually get access to much more than only Germans. You get like all these other countries. So that's like millions and millions of people that buy from Germany, actually that buy from you on that marketplace. That's really, really interesting. But one thing that I would really have to point out, and people don't know this, is that out of all international marketplaces, Germany gives out the most refunds. And that's really interesting, because which leads me to a really important thing, and that is the localization of your content and basically your product and everything that you're doing. Because if the consumers are confused with what you're buying, or they don't understand it right, or use the wrong keyword in your product, then they will most likely return this product because it would not be what they've imagined it to be, and it would not live up to their expectations. So this is really, really something that is very important, to understand, that the content is something that resonates with the audience, right or wrong way. And when people launch their products, you have that honeymoon period where you get basically more than you deserve in terms of, like, ranking and all of that, as you guys know. And then 6 months later, what happens is that you see drop in sales, and then sellers go like, well, what's wrong? Like, PPC is great, pictures, all of that. And then what happens is that usually, like, 90% of the cases is because of the content, which is barely understandable, somewhat understandable, or good but with wrong keywords, or without any keywords. This is what happens in most of the cases. And every time we do that, we do like audits, and this is always a conclusion that we draw, that there's something wrong with the content. And but it happens when it's basically too late, because at that point you're already non-relevant for so many keywords that you could have been relevant for, and you're moved to page 2, 3, 4, and so on. And it's really, really costing you a lot of time and money and all of that, and restarting the honeymoon period and back to the drawing board for like bunch of stuff. So this is something that should be considered before you expand, that you have to understand how localization works, not only for your content, but also like for your images, also for your packaging. Like, a lot of things should be customized and localized, especially when you want to sell in the US market. Like, a lot of sellers in Europe, they sell in the US, and then the problem is that people don't understand that US style is like very salesy and fluffy, and we in Europe, we're not like that. So if you cannot come with the European mindset and sell it to American consumers, they're not gonna like it that much, because they're more into like salesly fluff, whatever, like emotional language they're using. While as Germans are like very black and white, straight to business, very straightforward, don't use the hyping and like the fluffiness or whatever. Like, they hate it. So it's all very different. And if you wanted to serve something like that to the Germans, they would really not resonate with that, and I would think they would hate it. They would not buy your product because they didn't like the approach. And also, what is very important when selling internationally is basically the localization helps your brand have the feel like the consumers are buying from a local brand, not like an overseas brand, but actually like from the German brand or Italian or Mexican brand that's, selling something that is made in that country and is talking to the audience in the language and the tone that they find very familiar and convincing and safe.
Yeah, definitely. That's a blocking point for a lot of, let's say, sellers out there, because they don't realize the fact that people do judge. It's incredible, but
Yes.
they're very judgeful when it comes to the language you're using, to the actual small details, and everything is, the devil is in the details when it comes to any business, actually.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
I'm also, by the way, I'm from Romania, and I'm also purchasing from Amazon.de. So I have like maximum 5 days delivery to Romania. So it's incredible. Again, just to understand and to put a point here, that the German marketplace indeed is getting a lot of other countries to join and purchase from them. And actually, I think this is where the UK lost a lot of ground when they exited the EU, and that brought their everything down a bit. Because in the past, I used to purchase from the UK, but ever since they switched out of the EU, it's okay. We'll go from the German marketplace.
The German, I think they kind of just secured their dominance that way, because the UK really, it's like they have not done anything good in, like, not being a part of the EU, which I'm sure they now realize. But it's been very difficult for the sellers ever since that came in full action, also to ship the products from the UK to Germany and like other countries, and then they were shipping it via Netherlands to Germany, because it took only 2 weeks versus 2 months. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a disaster with that. But I mean, it's kind of going back to, I'd say, normal. But and people, of course, want to sell in the UK because there is no language barriers as there are for other countries.
Right.
But I just think that Germany will be dominant until every single country in Europe doesn't get its Amazon. So people will be buying from each of its own. But yeah, it's really, really important to just like consider that, you know, if you sell in Europe, then you have access to six different marketplaces where you can sell on. And then even though you don't have to have like make big money in the US, a lot of times people do make a lot of money just from European marketplaces, and the revenue can be equal to the one from the US or sometimes even bigger, depending on the category. And from what I've known and from what we've seen is that wooden toys sell insanely well in Germany, and anything to do with kids and toddlers goes amazingly well in Germany as well. And in the US, wooden toys are not that popular, but Germany is fantastic. And there are like a lot of products that will not sell that great in the US, but they will in, let's say, Germany, which is like the top marketplace. And I just wanted to share a couple of slides of the examples that we've had
Sure.
in the past. Yeah, so just showing how the potential opportunities are not the same in all the countries. And also,
Mhm.
you can check this today just by going again to Seller Central and checking the search frequency rank, which means, you know, how often is this product searched for. And if we just compare outdoor lights with the UK and outdoor lights in the US, you can see that outdoor lights have 14 search frequency rank, and outdoor lights are 630 in the UK. So it's
Right.
still somewhat good, but not even remotely close to how well it is going um, in the
Yeah.
US. And Germany is basically 7,000, 16,000. So this is probably not that great, like not that great marketplace for this specific product. Probably it's a seasonal product for Germans, so maybe in the summer it kind of gets, you know, better, but right now like it's not.
Hmm.
Also Paw Patrol toys, which is something that everybody knows, but for instance, like they're doing much better in Europe than they are in the US. So their search frequency rank is around 1400, which is pretty low when
Yeah.
compared to the UK and the Germany as well. And one specific product was very interesting for me, and that was a portable air conditioner. It's like a really small device with some batteries. And this is 934th search frequency rank in the US. But
Hmm.
when you check Germany, it's top 10 search frequency
Whoa.
ranks. Like this is really incredible. And there's like a really good explanation for this. And that is because due to global warming, we're getting warmer and warmer summers in Europe. And Germany, as a country who's not known as a tropical country and not known for super hot summers, uh, the buildings and houses in Germany don't usually have ACs installed in them. They have usually very Germany has like a lot of very old buildings, and they have very thick walls, and sometimes it's not even possible to install any ACs. So people are reaching to find something to cool off in the middle of the summer, and they're buying those portable ACs off Amazon for them to cool off. So this could potentially be like an insanely good product for you to sell on the German marketplace. Even, you know, like it could be just during the summer, but you know, I know a seller who's only selling what is it? I think socks with the Christmas socks, and he earns seven figures just like from sales in December, basically for Christmas. So you can just imagine how much money you could earn selling portable ACs during the 4 months, you know, in Germany, and that's
Yeah.
basically how long this warmth is, and it's going to get warmer and warmer. So a lot of times you should like consider a lot of different factors, and that is why it's important to basically research a little bit about the country, about the culture, and see what is it that people like over there. You know, the climate could also be like one of the things, like maybe like connected with um, uh, the warmer climate, there could be also some other products they're not that easily accessible for Germans, or that they did not feel the need for in the past, but they have the need for it now. So, something along those lines could be really potentially interesting to brainstorm, or some other things. But, you just have to kind of find a thing to think that could work. And a lot of people don't consider this a potential, or something else that does have potential. But once you kind of start thinking differently or in a different way, then I think a lot of other options and opportunities might pop up for you and for your niche that haven't been there before.
Exactly. And everything is about information. I mean, I wouldn't start navigating the business and going into different marketplaces without understanding what the marketplace is about. Or even worse, I've seen people, going into Europe and having like an English listing attached to their German product, which is really bad, because the Germans will most likely, I know it's a multicultural country, Germany, and there are different nationalities within Germany. A lot of them are speaking English, but still having the right German actually listing written correctly and being addressed properly from the cultural perspective, that's a huge advantage that you can gain over your competitors. And again, looking for the looking guys that are trying to purchase that product. So yeah, definitely information is the key in everything. If you don't know what you're doing or where you're heading, what could you expect out of your business, right? I mean, it's not about selling.
Absolutely. And in Europe, a lot of parts of Europe, let's say South Germany, they don't really speak a lot of English. And if you don't understand the product you're purchasing, you're highly unlikely going to buy it, especially when it comes to beauty brands or baby products or anything that consists of like ingredients or special use that you have to understand 100% in order to be sure how to use it, like supplements and all of that. And then if you're not 100% sure on how to use it or what's inside, you're probably not going to buy it. And I've seen a lot of products that have, for instance, like they would name the ingredients and then one of the ingredients would be written twice. And then it's the same name. And then first thing that comes to your mind is like, what if they're hiding something and they forgot to mention that this other ingredient is, and they just kind of got the double, I'm just like, I'm not going to buy from this. Like, it sounds really shady. I wouldn't want to buy this product. And then this is something that how people would usually, react. And you just have to, put yourself in their own shoes and be like, would I buy this for my kid if I just like read something in Spanish that I don't understand really well, and then they have like 3 same ingredients instead of 3 different ingredients? Like, no, I'm gonna go to this other tab that's open from these 6 ones, and then I'm gonna purchase something elsewhere, and that's it. And the price also doesn't really matter, because we had like this case of this diaper bag a couple of years ago, and then this seller was selling, it was like the cheapest from all 4 diaper bags, but the description was like not great, and it was half in English, half in French, and it was the cheapest product. But that didn't even help this product be bestseller, because the content was not clear. It was a diaper bag that you could transform into different types of, I don't know, whatever for your baby, and it was just not understandable. I was just like, you kind of lost me at number 2 of like, this is also how you can use this product, Right. And then for 4 identical products, this was not a bestseller, even though it had the lowest price, which was still competitive. It was not like €3. It was like €22, and the rest were 30 something. So, it was actually, it was a high price. It was not dirt cheap, but the content really made a lot of difference here.
Yeah, it's very important. Super, Jana. All right. So I guess let's talk a bit about how the people can reach out to you. I have like your website here. That's the main point of contact. But how can I reach you if I want to get a report or maybe learn more about your services?
Sure. So, of course, there is our website, but what I think will be the best is like to follow me on LinkedIn. I post a lot of content. If you liked whatever I had to share today, I always like share interesting things about Amazon international sales, just e-commerce in general, and a lot of things that you can apply to your business as well. So I think the best way to reach out to me if you have any questions would be LinkedIn. If not, you can go to our webpage, and then if you were interested in the report, you just go to our contact form and just fill it out, say that you would like to have the report, and we can reach out to you, and we can just take it from there. And also, we're very happy to offer that discounted price till the end of Q1 to all of your listeners. So whoever is interested in getting some really good due diligence and some really good data that you could have fun with in the upcoming weeks, feel free to reach out, and we'll be happy to help you.
Super. I will be adding, because the LinkedIn it's a bit tricky with a lot of numbers, so I'll be adding all the information in the description. And thank you,
sure.
Thank you for that.
I can share the landing page for the report as well, so you can also put it over there. Yeah, definitely,
I will do that. So check out the details in the description, and yeah, for any comments or questions, Jana will be more than happy to answer them. And Jana,
absolutely,
really appreciate it, and appreciate you, and hvala.
Mulțumesc.
Oh, that's perfect. We got that. Awesome. All right. So thank you everyone. We'll be in touch, and yeah, Jana, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
Bye.